I'm the youngest out of 3 boys and my oldest sister. So my 2 older brothers, were involved in gang life and everything. They didn't want that for me. My grandfather didn't want that for me. So I did music, sports, art, anything I could to stay off the streets, stay out of the gangs. My older brother being who he was, typical older brother, his script was amazing. And he wrote our last name out, Valdez, but he had it in quotation marks. And he said, hey, do you want this tattoo? And I'm thinking, well, holy shit, he wants to bond. Okay, cool, let's do it, And I was excited. I'm like, this is cool. So he put it on, and I'm sitting there, going through that single needle, and he was digging because he obviously wanted me to feel it, And so I go to look, I turn around, and it's Valdez with the quotation marks. And son of a bitch, so whenever somebody says, hey, Valdez, how's it going? That was my nickname. To this day, I still have it. It's a little blown out thing with like fuzzy writing and quotation marks. And everybody's asking me, like, dude, why don't you cover it up? Why don't you cover it up? And I said, it's a great story. I'm Matt Valdez, and I am a tattoo artist. Historically, the tattoo artist was, solid, like, hey, what the hell, angry all the time. Get in, sit down, shut the hell up, get tattooed, pay me, get the hell out. It wasn't a building a rapport relationship type thing. Me, I've always been a social freak. I love the story. I love talking. So when you're building a business and you're starting to do things, you have to build that relationship. You can't just have one thing, in your wheelhouse and just rely solely on your talent. You have to be able to sell yourself. You literally have 5-10 minutes to make a very good first impression, because you're about to do something that is literally changing your life. You are doing a body modification, and if you don't vibe with that person, it's just not a good thing. Go with your gut. I felt that building a rapport and building that relationship that you needed, I thought it was necessary for me, but necessary for my client as well. Necessary for me based off of a business sense. Whenever you hear the word tattoo, ink, needle, anything, all those hot buttons, the person's gonna say, you need to go to my guy. Or especially if I did a cover up, or especially if I did something very successful that they absolutely loved it. They brought them to tears. The emotions that are involved with it are just powerful. And that's what I felt I needed to build that relationship. I needed to build that rapport, and have that solid. I'm tattooing people that I went to high school with, and now I'm tattooing their kids. So if I'm continuously turning and burning, go here, this, sit down, shut up, blah, 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 you're not gonna remember anything about it. And the biggest thing when I hear the stories from other work, oh cool, where'd you get your tattoo? Oh, I was somewhere in, I don't know, I think I was in, when did I get this? Well, who did it? I have no idea. 90 to 95% of my clientele will tell you exactly where we were, what we were doing, hell, what I was talking about, and they'll tell you something about me. I thought I could take it to another level, and I came up with Beyond the Ink. And Beyond the Ink is just using it on bigger platforms, because the story is what gets me. And with all the reality TVs and all the podcasts and everything about tattoos, it's always, or 99% of the time, about the artist. And it's always about the artist saying, well, my worst client was this, they didn't tip me, or they didn't do this, or blah, 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 blah. I hate that. I hate with a passion, but it irritates me, because I'm sorry, without the client and without their story, you wouldn't be doing shit. You would not be where you are. You would not be rock star status or whatever the case may be. That's the whole point that I think got lost in translation with reality TV. So I figured Beyond the Ink. Let's look beyond your tattoo. Why did you get this tattoo? Why did you do this? And it helps my creativity and my creative brain. I got it because my grandmother passed away. Give me one example of why your grandmother is so important to you. Well, when I was 5 years old, I had a pony. Oh, so you like horses? Yes. And it just takes off and it blooms into, now I can create something custom for you and you only. And so that way when you like it, and you're more apt to show your friends, show your family, show everybody. So I figured I may as well record and tattoo, since I talk anyway while I tattoo, and just see where it goes. You know, people take experiences, tragedies, a lot of different things, and they lock them up and they throw them out, you know, in that proverbial shelf. Well, eventually that shelf's rattled and that thing will fall and break, and then somebody will say something that unlocks that, you know, that jar, and you're like, holy crap, I just remembered stuff like that happened to me. The more the stories started to resonate with me, the more I started to realize that the darker the path and the darker the story, the more I'll see that person, because they use the actual physical pain to balance out the emotional pain. And the funny thing is, and what's really, again, why I'm doing what I'm doing, I used to do the exact same thing. And I said, well, let's dig, let's check this out a little bit, you know, and see where this goes, you know, beyond the ink. I know, and it sounds really cliche, I mean, really, you know, but if it helps one person or two people or three people just to get these stories out. I've had clients that cut themselves, and I do scar tissue cover up. You can get that same effect, the physiology of it, if you get a nice tattoo. Don't cut yourself. Don't do that. Go get a tattoo. Go get, you know, something beautiful. It's therapy. It's really therapeutic for people. They leave hugging, sometimes crying, sometimes like, and just thank you so much, because now this is a timestamp. I'll remember the time, this healing session, and I love that. Honestly, I absolutely love that. I can relate to a lot of my clients' stories. So some of the darker things, and then some of the happier things. If you want to take a look at Beyond the Ink, definitely go subscribe, check it out. We're on YouTube, we're on Spotify, iHeartRadio, and Apple Podcasts so far. So, and eventually, bigger platforms, you know. If somebody wants to contact us and say, hey, we like what you're doing, you know, then we'll look into it, you know. Story first, absolutely. I'll interact and I'll empathize, or I'll, you know, add my 2 cents here and there, but mostly I love the story.